get started with committee tonight. We are going to be presented with an update to the council by President and CEO of the Akron Zoo, Doug Cars. He's here to address council. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And I think council remembers we typically do this once a year. I saw you when I waved. But thank you all for having me. We typically try to update you at the end of each year as to how the zoo currently is doing and what our future plans are. So that is what I'll be doing today, and I do have a small guest with me when I get to the education department. And I don't know why that's not advancing. Oh, on the side. There we go, that helps. So I think you all know the basic background of the zoo. The zoo does enhance community education and conservation through our mission to connect everyone's lives to wildlife while inspiring lifelong learning and then moving folks to conservation action. We do truly live, eat, and breathe that mission, and we look to make a difference here within this community and within this region using that mission. In the last year, we connected Your Life to Wildlife with 61 animal habitats, providing enriching experiences for visitors across the zoo on a daily basis. We are 107 acres, so the zoo has continued to grow since the last time that I've been in front of you, most recently with a purchase and partnership from the Akron Metropolitan Housing Authority, which you'll be hearing about the development of a little later in my presentation. We have a total of 234 individual species, which is a far cry from the 9 when I walked in the door here almost 30 years ago. We have over 3,000 individual animals on site. Again, significant advance from the 180 that called the Akron Zoo home 30 years ago. We're home to 42 species survival plans on our site. 6 AZA. AZA is the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. It's the largest accrediting body in the world for professionally run and operated zoological parks and aquariums, and Akron Zoo is one of those accredited facilities. They have a program known as SAFE, which stands for Saving Animals from Extinction, and it actually elevates the work of the species survival plans, which are based to create a hedge against extinction for individual species, to create a holistic approach to reestablish animals in nature with other conservation organizations cooperatively. And Akron Zoo today has 6 of those AZA SAFE programs represented on site. And last but not least, 2 species that are extinct in the wild call the Akron Zoo home. We are one of 237 accredited zoos and aquariums and 14 total related facilities across 13 countries to be accredited by the association. We are Summit County's most visited attraction. If you look at this graph with the attendance figures, you'll see COVID, obviously, like for everyone else, was a substantial challenge. We didn't even put a number to that year. But the good news is we've recovered, as of 2023, nearly to our peak attendance pre-COVID. So this lines up very well as we look forward. We did in 23 welcome 412,000 visitors into the Akron Zoo. And despite challenges we had with rainy weekends during Boo at the Zoo, that 400,000 person mark was achieved and extended, and we expect next year to land higher as we actually look to attract people with some of the plans that I'm going to be talking to you about here in a moment. The financial review for the organization, we continue to yield about $8 in public impact economically for every dollar of public support the Akron Zoo has received. Over a period of 10 years, that was $75 million invested with $581 million returned. And I know that I've talked about this publicly before. We partnered with the Greater Akron Chamber to figure out how to perform this economic impact study, because Too often, studies are either not helpful or in some way someone is accused of having a pony in the race, so to speak, to measure the impact and output of the organization. The Chamber and the lessons they provided to us led to a company just outside of Chicago, so that it was not someone who would look good in the greater Akron area. It was someone who could give us a true third-party review, and this is the result of that. For our financial stool, we have three legs to that stool that support the work of the park and our mission. The first is the public support through our property tax levy. The second is our earned revenue physically on-site and off-site. And the third is the philanthropic support. This has become a key for the zoo to be able to keep itself affordable and truly reach all people across Summit County. We do that in a variety of ways, which I will get into here shortly. The operating income in our annual report is broken down as follows. In 2023, 28% of the operating income came out of the tax levy and went towards operations. 28% of our operating income came out of the tax levy and went towards master plan development. 44% of the operating income came through earned income on site, physically, and the philanthropic support. And when you look at this in lieu of the annual operations of the zoo, it yields roughly 50% of the operating budget supported through earned revenue and philanthropic support on site. The operating expenses, 56% funded animal care, buildings and grounds, and 44% supported education programming and enhanced guest services. The impact of this investment has been significant. In 2022, our board of directors approved a new 10-year strategic master and financial plan for the organization. The components that you see on this slide are the key areas of focus. The first is diversity, equity, accessibility, and inclusion. DEAI, as it comes to an evaluation standpoint, sits on the top of all the decisions that we make. We want to truly be able to reach all people. This, from our perspective, is about demonstrating goodwill to all people, trying to meet them where they are and encourage them to engage with our mission so that there are not barriers to this public asset. We want the science education that we perform. We want the conservation tie. We want all of these things to be able to be at the forefront of many people's minds and to not have any group excluded. And as I talk about in a future slide, that becomes a key area of focus across each one of these topic areas. The first being financial sustainability. Obviously, we make a commitment to the people of Summit County to ensure excellent stewardship of taxpayer dollars, as well as the earned revenue and the philanthropic support we receive. Reaching out into the community to identify aspects of the community and work with them where they currently do not feel engaged by the zoo has been an intentional practice. One of the most recent areas of success was inside of our own neighborhood in Sherbondi Hill, where after a deep dive across all of Summit County, we actually found that our neighbors were the least directly connected to the zoo because they felt the zoo was an asset for people coming into the neighborhood as opposed to people living in the neighborhood. That was very painful for us because we've tried for many years to create that camaraderie within the neighborhood because we see ourselves as a citizen of that neighborhood. And the end result of that study brought together a steering committee of neighbors who put together a plan to be able to include this entire neighborhood in the work of the zoo and yielded something that's become quite popular, a block party for that neighborhood at the Akron Zoo every June that the people in the neighborhood plan and execute right next to my staff. So it's for the neighborhood, by the neighborhood, with the neighborhood. That is what we mean by willing the good of all people. It's truly drawing folks in so that they become a part of instead of surrounded by. The experience becomes critical on site because we don't want barriers that would exist for accessibility for any particular group of people, and we spend the same level of intentionality around the barriers physically on our site as we do to including groups of people within the organization. The team, because obviously the team is the group that's actually accomplishing the mission itself and engaging everyone else in it. The team and its development becomes critical, as well as the mission impact. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about here, we're actually very close to coming over the finish line with our first working agreement with Cuyahoga Valley National Park, which will be a conservation agreement between the zoo and Cuyahoga Valley National Park for cooperative programming. Since the zoo sits at the mouth of the park and drains into the Cuyahoga River, a lot of what we have been doing on site has been with an eye towards the protection of that river and an eye towards the protection of the wildlife that rely on that national park. We've already had long-standing relationships with Summit County Metro Parks, and many have probably seen that included a coyote study of coyotes being tracked within the area of the zoo. And we also found in the neighborhood that led people to realize it was not our wolves running around the neighborhood. It was actually native coyotes, and they're just at home there as any of our neighbors are. So jumping in to removing barriers, we have a program at the zoo, and you'll see this on our gates as you walk in. It's You Belong at the Akron Zoo. The You Belong program is about identifying people who are willing to come to us and say, I don't feel like I belong, and then having that conversation. Because the You Belong program is specifically the program that's meant to remove those barriers and those hurdles to guest engagement with the park. In 2023, we had a series of free admission days with key creative programming on Martin Luther King Day, President's Day, and Election Day. Each of those days were cooperative partnerships with other community partners, such as the Summit County Historical Society, the Public Library, the John Brown Institute, the History Museum in Canton. A whole variety of others came together to be able to deliver a significant and impactful opportunity to the community. We also have our community days throughout the entire month of September, where every person who lives in Summit County can go online and come to the zoo for free if they wish to. We also had free admission partner events such as Backpack Adventure with Akron Public Schools, where Akron Public Schools identifies at-risk families in need of school supplies, and they're hosted at the zoo over a period of several days. If I recall correctly, there were over 7,000 students directly benefited this past year. Dream Night with Akron Children's Hospital, which brings in families of chronically ill children. For me, it's a very personal experience because I've had, over the years, many children tell me when they find out that originally I was a VP, but now the CEO of the zoo, that night was so incredibly important to them because it was the first time in a long time that their brothers and sisters wanted to come someplace with them. I mean, the power of that evening for the children who are directly involved is immense and beautiful. Inclusion Day at the zoo in partnership with Summit Developmental Disabilities Board and Wear Blue Day with Summit County Children's Services celebrate different aspects of inclusion and give people the opportunity to show support for that group by the colors they choose to wear to the zoo that day. And if they wear orange on DD Day or they wear blue on Children's Services, they're coming in for free as our gift for honoring those groups. Become very, very important. Increasing accessibility across the park through the You Belong program also includes our Museums for All program, which is a program through Washington, D.C. That we are a part of, as well as many other folks around the nation. But what's really important about this, the Akron Zoo, in partnership with Arts Now and all of the other Arts Now membership organizations, lifted the entire community by all engaging in Museums for All at the same time. So the program is now available for folks who either have a WIC card, a SNAP card, or a Ohio Direct card, and it lets them purchase 4 family tickets to the zoo for $3 a piece. And then our Age-Friendly initiative this past year, in partnership, again, with a large variety of different organizations across the county, the zoo became the first facility to be certified age-friendly. Then, moving on to the next slide, We were awarded the Angela Peterson Excellence in Diversity Award by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums for that very age-friendly initiative that was developed here in Summit County in partnership with many other Summit County agencies. The importance of this is the second time the Akron Zoo in our history has won an international award. And that is what this is. And this award is not just about an Akron Zoo program. This award was given to the Age Friendly Initiative that went across multiple organizations in this county that are now being held up across 13 countries as the right path, the benchmarkable way to go to create an age-friendly community. And now on this slide, I'd like to invite Allison Schell up. Allison, where? Oh, there you are. See, she knows what's coming. And as I narrate our education slide, Allison is going to be introducing you to one of our animal ambassadors. Our animal ambassadors actually join our STEM programmers and our teachers and educators on program because one of the things the Akron Zoo can do uniquely that other facilities cannot is the direct engagement with wildlife, both as animal ambassadors on our beautiful site and then in partnership with others like Summit Metro Parks, like the Audubon Society of the United States, where the Akron Zoo actually hosts the Christmas bird count in Area 2 every year, our Project Frog Watch, and a whole variety of others that empower citizens to truly make a difference for wildlife by what they choose to do and what they choose to participate in, and the data collected really matters. On this slide, during 2023, we engaged with 68,953 students. 33,491 engaged in formal programming, teacher-led programming on our site by our teaching staff. 35,000 students attended Akron Zoo field trips. Akron Zoo field trips are not just a fun place to go. The whole zoo was built as an informal science learning center. And so a field trip to the zoo is a trip to an informal science learning center that can truly advance the understanding of the people who engage with the center and our staff. In Summit County, 20,968 students were in formal programming, 10,233 field trip student attendees. And when we went back to calculate, of the 16 school systems in Summit County, half of the students across all 16 school systems attended the zoo in 2023. That is an amazing number. And we currently serve 15 out of 16 school systems, and I hope the next time in front of you, I can say we have served 16 of 16. That is our goal. And Allison. And Allison, if you want to narrate anything, you can feel free. How about I'll take a brief break before I go to what's next, just so you can tell everybody who you have.
Yeah, so this is Tully. Tully is a sugar glider. He is a marsupial from Australia. So he is a really special member of our Akron Zoo family because he came to us from a really neat partnership that we have with Canton South. Their high school has an animal care program that we've been able to work with. And he was actually born to a breeding pair that they had there. So he came to the Akron Zoo, and through a lot of really excellent training and relationship bonding, we were able to prepare him to come out for just about anything. So he goes out for our zoo camps, he comes out for meet and greets at the zoo, and now he can add council meetings to his resume. And so he's a really special animal because being from Australia, he's got some really special adaptations. He allows us to teach our zoo visitors about the amazing adaptations animals have. He allows us to really teach about the impact of habitat loss, because when we think about Australia, we think about some of the wildfires that they've encountered and other ways that they have experienced habitat loss. When you put a face like Tully to that habitat loss, that can really make an impact. He also is a pollinator. He's a sugar glider, so he likes to eat really sweet stuff. When he's sticking his nose into those flowers to get that delicious nectar, he's also getting a little pollen on his whiskers. When he heads to the next flower, he's leaving some of that pollen behind, and so he has a really great impact on his ecosystem as well. So not only is Tully really amazing to work with, being able to build my relationship with him over the last 6 years has been very impactful for me as a professional, but I've also seen the impact that he's made on our zoo visitors as well in the way that he's able to communicate our mission and inspire that lifelong learning and conservation action as well.
Thank you, Allison. And Now, a couple of things quickly on what's next. For those of you who have not heard, we will be celebrating Black History in Perkins Woods, opening on Martin Luther King Day. Remember how I said before, we had this deep dive with the neighborhood. We were able to put together a steering committee, be able to truly understand what the neighbors were looking for from the zoo. One of the key things we heard was the neighborhood is really proud of the zoo, but didn't feel included. And they wanted to be able to tell the story of Black history in Perkins Woods. And so the picture on the bottom left, the 6 men are Richard Stevens Sr., McCoy Stevens, Henry Stevens, Johnson Stevens, Richard Stevens, and Leon Stevens. They're all related to Ernestine Carey, the second owner of the custard stand that was on the corner of Euclid Avenue and Edgewood. Johnson Stevens owned this with her for a few years. The middle photo up here is Henry and Annabelle Crooks, the original owners of that custard stand, and that custard stand is steeped in local history. In fact, the block party and our program earlier this year brought the lemon custard that it was famous for back into the zoo and into our food service because it was something that was consistently requested. The photo on the monument on top, from left to right, is Julia Clark, Emmer Lancaster, Senator Dick, Dr. Jones, an unknown person who we've not yet figured out, Cora Christian, and Stephen Gladwin. All of this is meant to discuss the impact that the Black community has had on Perkins Woods, what's happened on its ground, and the fact that it was the NAACP who worked to save the zoo remaining physically in Perkins Woods because it was going to move out of Perkins Woods. And the NAACP actually launched a campaign to keep the zoo in Perkins Woods. And it was something that was loudly and fully supported by the local community. And so we want to lift up those heroes from our neighborhood, let them tell their story in their own words, which is what this is. And this will run in Nature's Theater at the Akron Zoo and Zoo Gardens from Martin Luther King Day until early March, when it will actually come down and move to another area of the city. Then the next slide real quick, if you haven't heard in other presentations, Dino Trek will be opening at the zoo this summer. It'll bring animatronics dinosaurs to the Akron Zoo for the first time in our 70-plus year history. The focus is to talk about extinction and its long-term impacts and to really let kids engage in an inspirational way, and adults too, because I'm looking forward to it, with dinosaurs and other animals from the past. This program will not be an upcharge. So this is something that will be a value add for people as they come through the zoo and a unique experience that directly aligns with our work to save wildlife and wild places. At the same time, in our master plan, we will have the groundbreaking in spring of next year for a new animal hospital at the zoo. Our last animal hospital, as I kind of hinted at the beginning, was built when we had not very many animals, when we didn't even have a full-time veterinarian or a full-time veterinary technician. The zoo was incredibly tiny, and that 4,000 square foot animal hospital has gotten us through the last 30 years. This animal hospital will provide for all of the needs of the park today and for what is planned into our future, and it will actually assure our accreditation with the Association of Zoos and Aquariums moving forward. And if you're wondering, you probably, you can read it in front of you, but it moves us from a 4,000 square foot hospital, which includes all the clinical space and all the animal space, to a 12,000 square foot hospital. So it is exactly what we need, and it's the right time. We will also be constructing what we're fondly internally calling Pride of Africa Phase 2, or the African Savannah. So when our last levy was approved, one of the things the community said they wanted from the zoo was to see giraffes and to see the story of rebuilding the pride, the work of the Masai Mara and Soralo in Kenya, to be finished, because we started telling it by the most successful African lion conservation program in continental Africa, and now we're going to be talking about the impact on Soralo as a whole in the South Rift Valley, an area roughly the size of the state of Connecticut, and what has happened because they've focused as a community, changing their own traditions, their own economy, and actually supporting wildlife to live alongside them. It has brought elephants back for the first time in 2 generations. The giraffe population is increasing across that area. It's an amazing story, and we're looking forward to being able to finish it. And with that, I'm imagining I went a little long because I tend to talk, so I apologize for that. But any questions, I'm happy to take them. Jeff?
Doug, the animal hospital, will that also be a teaching facility?
Yes, the facility will be sized so that we can do 2 things. One is actually support internships and externships for future veterinary technicians, as well as internships and externships for future veterinarians. And then the exterior of the building will actually be available for folks who are interested in behind-the-scenes style tours, because we currently do one behind Pride of Africa, and this will be located immediately off that route. So we would have the ability to engage from the outside for students who are not yet pre-vet or pre-veterinary technician, and then engage from the inside, because we'll have ample space to be able to accommodate that physically in the facility.
Following that, how many vets will you be employing or using to treat the animals, and how many techs will be required?
Well, it would right now be what we presently have. Right now, I have a total of 7 people stuffed in a room not much bigger than those 2 desks put together. So they have to take shifts working in that space. But we have 2 full-time veterinarians today. When I first came to the zoo 30 years ago, we had 1 contract veterinarian 4 hours a week. We also have a team of a half dozen veterinary technicians and hospital keepers, all of which will call this space home.
I just want to say thank you for all the work that you do. My family especially loves the zoo, and we appreciate the wildlife. That's one of the things we look forward to every year is the preview that you all invite us to. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that on behalf of a very loving staff, because truly this is a labor of love for everybody in our facility, and I appreciate all of your support. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we will call the Personnel Committee to order at 4:57. We have one item on the agenda this evening. But we do have an amendment for 24-332. Can I have a motion from committee to accept the amended resolution? I have a motion from Councilman Schmidt to accept amended resolution 2024-332. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion accepted. Okay, so we have 2024-332, an amended resolution confirming awards by the Board of Control of contracts for the county's health insurance programs as set forth in amended Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Human Resources, Division of Employee Benefits, and declaring an emergency.
So I'm going to ask Lisa Yeager to come forward on this one. We have here a mix of renewals of contracts with some familiar names: Medical Mutual, Guardian Life, Met Dental. With Medical Mutual, we do have a new annual contract for stop loss, which is something that occurs every year. And then we do have one additional new contract this year, which is the Apex Benefit Services. And with that, I'm happy to turn over to Lisa to answer plan questions and also give any a little bit of background on the plan structure for this year and how open enrollment went.
Hi, everybody. It's my first time at council. Thank you. Open enrollment went really well this year. We have a new plan.
Step up to the mic.
Sorry. Open enrollment went really well this year, in my opinion. I did it pretty good. We have a new, we added a new plan this year, Summa Care new plan, and our expectation was to have maybe a couple dozen folks roll over to the Summa Care plan, but we had 233 this year migrate to that plan, so we were very happy, very successful in that campaign, so we're very happy. The Summa Care plan kind of mimics the Advantage plan. It's just on a different, it pays for the same benefits, just on a different level. It seemed very popular. We got a lot of questions on it. There's an HRA incentive that goes along with that, $200 for single, $400 for family. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but are there any questions about the benefits this year for 2025?
So if you are all not aware, June Jennings, who was the Deputy Director of Employee Benefits, Lisa is now our Deputy Director of Employee Benefits. at the
Sorry.
Executive's Office, in case you guys are not aware. So, Brandon, will you? Okay. Any questions for Lisa? John?
I do, thank Christy. Could you tell me what the philosophy is behind charging, for example, $40 for a specialist versus $20 for a primary care person?
Usually it costs more for a specialist. The county pays more for a specialist. They bill more than a primary care physician does.
Because
And we follow the insurance guidelines, Medical Mutual's guidelines, Summa Care's guidelines, and that's what most of them do.
Yeah, because what it causes people to not go to the doctor when they probably should, which, from what I understand, actually will cost more money in the long run.
It could. We also have First Stop Health. That's a free telemedicine company.
Would you please talk into
Sorry. We also have First Stop Health, which is a free telemedicine company to all employees and their dependents and their family members. Again, that's telemedicine. But if you're talking a specialist, they do charge more, and it's the trend for insurance to do that.
So it's to save money, and it really discourages people from going to the doctor if they have to pay more upfront, more deductible. And that's what the goal is of the insurance companies?
I don't know if that's the goal. I feel that our copays are lower than most in the private sector. The only one I don't think we're lower than is the city of Akron. Don't quote me on that. But I've looked at other government plans, and we've looked at other private sector plans, and our copays are lower than most.
And then oftentimes, when people utilize the health insurance, they're turned down for prescriptions or various, like a CAT scan or something like that. And do we have any data on how many times in a year's time are people turned down?
I don't have any.
And what I'll call is hassled.
Got it.
And
How
I'm
many
guessing-
times they're denied?
Pardon me?
How many times they're denied, or how many
Yeah,
times
well,
that they have to
denied
go
or-
through the coverage management process?
The coverage management process, what is that? And could you
That
explain
is,
that?
it's both under the prescription plan and under the medical plan. There are certain prescriptions that go through step therapy. The coverage management has step therapy, quantity limits, and a DUR, which is a drug utilization review. So the pharmacy boards at all of our PBMs, they manage our formulary, and they determine what drugs on the formulary go through those step therapy programs or those coverage management programs. We don't have a choice in that. That's industry standard. I know that's kind of a generic answer, but that's industry standard to protect the patients and to protect the employers and so forth. Same with the medical plan. They have those parameters put in place. For instance, if you were, and this happened to me, I had to have, I sprained something, and my doctor ordered an MRI, and Medical Mutual denied it because they needed to make sure the swelling went down first, because apparently if you have an MRI when there's swelling involved, they can't really tell if there's a true injury. So I had to have either 2 weeks of physical therapy or 2 weeks of anti-inflammatories before they allowed the MRI. So that's the industry standard.
I can understand that, because if you have to, the swelling has to go down
Sure,
first. That's a good
sure.
reason. But if it's cost related and your doctor says that you need this prescription or you need this x-ray or this CAT scan or this MRI, I mean, I don't know how some bureaucrat sitting in an office somewhere.
I can't answer that for you. I'm sorry. I know that they have appeal processes, and they can do peer-to-peer reviews, both on the pharmaceutical side and the medical side. So I would suggest if you run into that, you call us or call your physician and have them talk to Medical Mutual or Summa Care or Express Scripts, and see if they can do a peer-to-peer review.
Yeah, well, it's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, those questions are not things we at the county decide. I mean, when we go out and market, put out an RFP for these proposals, this is what, these are what these insurance companies bring to us. So when we get into plan design, if there are like specific questions like that, we can arrange a meeting with our consultants and with the folks at Medical Mutual or whomever, if you'd like to have that conversation in terms
Yeah, I
of plan
will.
design.
I will. I'll contact you. Thanks. Thank you.
And Mr. Schmidt, I don't have any data, but I might be able to obtain that upon the denials, and
It's too bad, you know, when you need to go to the doctor.
I get
doctors
it.
tell you
I
that,
do.
yeah.
I'm unemployed too, so I completely understand.
Well, sure, and Brian, I've had this conversation. He's had experiences as well, and his same thing. It's just too bad, and I'm just wondering if it's kind of specifically to save money, and perhaps we should start looking at a different plan or a different method of doing things, so sick people aren't hassled by bureaucrats in an office somewhere, wherever they are.
Yeah, wow. We do put out an RFP. The next RFP will be this year or next year?
Next year.
Next year.
It's coming up next year.
Okay. So we will go out to market again. And again, we will negotiate, but listen, you're delving into an area that probably goes way beyond even us here locally, in light of things that we just saw in New York City with the CEO of an insurance company, and the frustration of residents with our healthcare system.
You can say that again.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Sure. Any other questions, Ms. Yeager? Okay, with that, do I have a motion on 2024-332?
So moved.
I got a motion from Mr. Schmidt. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item passes. No other business before the Personnel Committee. We will adjourn at 5:06.
Public Works will come to order. We have several resolutions to consider this evening, the first of which is 2024-333, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a professional service contract with Euthenix, Inc. for design services for the Valley View CR25 resurfacing and landslide repair project located in Sagamore Hills Township and Council District 1 in an amount not to exceed $518,919 for the engineer declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Heidi Swindell, Summit County Engineers Office. This is a design contract for a portion of Valley View Road from the Cuyahoga County line to Dunham Road. It is a resurfacing project and a landslide project, so they're designing both aspects in the one design contract. We have construction funds for the part of the landslide. It's only going to cover about half of it. And then we are still looking for resurfacing dollars. We're going to apply to AMATS to see if we can get more resurfacing dollars in there. But we want to have it designed and ready to go because we have about $2 million and we're looking to get more. And I believe we have to spend it in 2028. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Heidi. Questions from members of the committee, members of council, the public? Aaron, do you want to move on that? Aaron moved on 2024-333. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 2024-334. A resolution authorizing the executive to advertise for bids to enter into a cooperative agreement with Richfield Township concerning the Stubbins Road, Farnham Road, Hecker Drive Drainage and Roadway Improvement Project at an estimated cost not to exceed $196,000 with no county funds involved, located in Richfield Township and Council District 1 for the engineer and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. You're going to be seeing a lot more of this type of legislation. We're actually doing a lot more construction administration and kind of going out looking for bids on behalf of the townships. These are township roads. These will be township projects. But we just have more expertise on our staff and we have a wider reach for going out to bid. So I think we got one coming up with Copley and another one Northfield Center as well. But yes, we are just going to be administering this on their behalf.
Thanks, Heidi. Questions from members of the committee, members of council, the public? Jeff, do you want to move on that? Jeff moved on 2024-334. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 2024-335, a resolution authorizing the executive to enter into agreements for the acquisition and drainage easements over portions of 5284 Streetsboro Road and the vacant lot located on the southeast side of Medina Line Road and West Streetsboro Road intersection located in Richfield Township and Council District 1 in a total amount not to exceed $600 as part of the Medina Line Culvert Rehabilitation Project for the engineer and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Last one of these for our 2024, quickly becoming 2025 Regional Culvert Replacement Program. We're going to do 3 culverts. We're field paving them. We just put some concrete on the base. It strengthens it. And these are very small drainage easements, and they are probably worth about $100 each, but the minimum is $300, so they're getting $300.
Thanks, Heidi. Questions from members of the committee? Members of council, the public. Lori, you want to move on that? Lori Rogers moved on 2024-335. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Heidi. Is there any other business to come before the Public Works Committee? Then we're adjourned.
Planning and Economic Development will open at 5:11. We have one piece tonight, 2024-336, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a construction contract with Central Window Cleaning, Inc. for the Domestic Relations Courthouse exterior project located in the city of Akron in Council District 4, and an amount not to exceed $129,832 for the Executive's Department of Administrative Services Physical Plants, and declaring an emergency.
Good afternoon, everyone. Joe Eckenrode, Fiscal Plants Department. We took this cleaning project out to bid. We had quite a bit of interest. We had 7 bids come back in, and Central Window Cleaning was the lowest responsive bid. They did come in underneath the engineer's estimate, and the building's going to look real good when we're done. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Joe. Any questions for Joe? Do I have a motion? I have a motion from Councilwoman Hyam on 2024-336. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Liz, before you adjourn, we were told we were going to get renderings of the council chambers improvements. We have not gotten those yet, unless somebody, has anybody gotten those?
I'll work on that this week, get you the renderings.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Yes.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Liz.
All right, we'll adjourn at 5:13.
And I will call Public Safety Committee to order at 5:13. First item, 2024-337, resolution authorizing the executive for bids for the purchase of 6 vehicles for the sheriff's office for an estimated total amount not to exceed $365,550 for the executive and the sheriff, and declaring an emergency.
Hello, Angela Just with the Sheriff's Office. This request is to go out to bid for 6 patrol vehicles. Fortunately, we were able to obtain grant funding for this purchase. These vehicles will replace older patrol vehicles with high mileage.
Any questions on this one? All right. Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Wilhite. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2024-338, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control, subject to the approval of the Information Technology Board, of a professional service contract with Step Mobile LLC for the implementation of the Ohio Community Supervision System in an amount not to exceed $97,485 for the Court of Common Pleas, and declaring an emergency.
Good afternoon, Ken Tillis, Common Pleas Court. This is a grant-funded project from the state of Ohio for a new case management system for our specialized dockets, Adult Probation Department, and pretrial services. Our only cost is implementation. The ongoing maintenance is very nominal compared to what we're paying for our regular court case management system. It will allow a lot more capability of electronic transactions, case notes, even mapping if they're doing field visits. It's an interesting model that the company has with the state. They partnered with the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction, where the state hosts the data and pays for the licenses, and the users only pay for the ongoing user support. grant came down from the Supreme Court for case management, or for specialized docket case management, and we were able to expand it to probation, so it's a win all around. We'll have another nominal cost for ProWare, our existing case management vendor, for exporting the current data, but in the scheme of things, getting grant money to do this entire conversion was a wonderful thing from the state because we don't have to pay it. Glad to answer any questions.
Any questions? Motion by Councilwoman Walters, 2024-338. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. On 2024-339, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control, subject to the approval of the Information Technology Board, of a professional service contract with AdGators for digital signage and wayfinding for the Summit County Courthouse in an amount not to exceed $87,344 for the Court of Common Pleas and declaring an emergency.
And this is another exciting project for us that is grant funded from the Supreme Court of Ohio. We're going to put in wayfinding kiosks so people, instead of coming in through security and having to ask the deputies, where do I need to go? The deputies can simply say, there's a kiosk over there. You can go, put in your name, it'll tell you where you need to go, and actually allow them to download a map to their phone that'll show them exactly how to get from that point to whatever courtroom they're going to. When they get to that courtroom, they can use a kiosk that'll be located there to actually check in, so the bailiffs know they're there, so that lawyers know that their client is there. So we'll have signage also in the adult probation department, pointing people to the right place, in the courthouse, pointing them to the probation department. And that is grant funded. A portion of the cost will be paid for by the court's special projects fund, but the majority of it is grant funded. Glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilwoman Walters. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2024-340, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a professional service contract with Sadler, Niekamp Financial Services, Inc., DBA ProWare as a sole source for case management system software support and maintenance services for a one-year term from 1/1/25 through 12/31/29 for an amount not to exceed $212,130 for the first year, with 4 options to renew for an additional one-year term for a total cost not to exceed $1,139,760 for the 5-year period for the Court of Common Pleas Juvenile Division and declaring an emergency.
David Horner, Summit County Juvenile Court. We've had ProWare at the juvenile court since late 2003. It is our overall case management system. This is it's both for software support and maintenance. That represents an approximate 4% increase over last year's contract. It was taken and approved by both the OIT board and the County Board of Control.
Any questions? All right, do you have a motion?
So,
Motion by Councilman Wilhite. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.
2024-341, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control, subject to the approval of the Information Technology Board, of a 10-year purchase contract with Axon Enterprise, Inc. at state term pricing for the implementation of and subscription to Axon Evidence, Evidence.com, and Axon Storage in an amount not to exceed $151,963.60 per year, for a total amount not to exceed $1,519,636 for the prosecutor and declaring an emergency.
Good evening, Elliot Colquitt, Summit County Prosecutor. This is the same website I discussed during my budget presentation a few weeks ago. Essentially what we're looking at here is that Akron kind of started this ball rolling when they went with their body camera, which is owned by Axon or Evidence.com. We get a free website to host the body camera that they send us. However, we do not have the capabilities or cost built in to pay for third-party videos that go on there, surveillance videos, pictures, or whatnot. So Akron has been using the website for that, so we are in danger of being charged for storage for what we're currently getting for free. We're trying to get out in front of that and look at housing all of our digital evidence. This is not only going to apply to the Akron cases, Barberton and Summit County Sheriffs you see there, but every jurisdiction that has any kind of digital evidence is going to be able to upload video to this particular website. So it creates one spot for not only body camera, but any digital evidence, including third party. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, this is going to drastically cut down on our thumb drives, CDs, burning times. It's also going to increase our flexibility with transcription services included in the website. And I appreciate the council hearing this tonight. I don't know if it's a Cyber Monday deal or not, but if we're able to lock into a contract before the end of the year, we will get the current rate. They are looking at increasing, I think, upwards of $50,000 per year in the new year, which is why we are trying to move quickly on it.
Any questions? Do you have a motion?
So moved.
Joe. Motion by, that must have been Brandon. Motion by Councilman Ford? Yeah. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
2024-342, a resolution authorizing the executive, oh, sorry, that's not my committee.
You're welcome to do it.
I will close public safety at 5:20.
And I'll open Health and Human Services at 5:20. Resolution 2024-342, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute a gift agreement with the Akron Community Foundation for the establishment of a field of interest fund to support and enhance the health and safety of minority and disadvantaged County of Summit residents, and authorizing the contributions to be an amount not to exceed $5 million of the opioid settlement dollars for the executive, the Opioid Abatement Advisory Council, and the key stakeholders group, and declaring an emergency. And Mr. Ford, did you want to make any comments?
I'll start.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you all read in the email I sent, and hopefully you've all had a chance to look at Attachment A, this Field of Interest Fund will be established at the Akron Community Foundation, and it will serve as a complementary piece to the supporting organization that this council approved last week. So when we began this endeavor of looking at how to best invest the county's settlement funds, it has always been the executive's desire to find a way to acknowledge marginalized populations, historically disadvantaged populations, and the minority community as a whole here in Summit County. We were pretty lucky to get a really good framework laid out by Councilman Ford, and we invited him to sit down with the county's outside counsel, who specializes in foundation work, nonprofit work. And so we worked through the process that Councilman Ford had sent over to us, some thoughts that we had internally that the executive wanted to make sure that we identified. And we feel really strongly that this is the right avenue for us to make this investment. You know, the county's outside counsel believes that this structure is the right foundation. As you saw in the email that I sent, this will continue the same type of financial parameters that we established with the supporting organization, the 5% annual spending cap. I know that was a question that many of you had, as well as the 1% administrative fee cap. We intend, again, for this fund to serve as a complement to the supporting organization. I've talked with many of you sort of offline about questions you have or support that you wanted to show. We know that there are right now problems, and the supporting organization doesn't provide right now solutions. There are still many processes that have to take place, and that's going to include federal government approval of the 501c3 status as well as the additional board appointment. What Councilman Ford outlined and what we all know here in Summit County is that there has been a really troubling increase in overdose rate and overdose death in the Black community, as well as an extremely troubling increase in death by suicide in the Black community. And those are just two things that we look at when we say these are right now problems that need right now solutions. And so this different structure than the supporting organization, this Field of Interest Fund, provides a little bit quicker availability of these funds specifically targeted to minority and disadvantaged populations. I'm happy to answer any questions from the executive side, but I would certainly turn it over to Councilman Ford. We also have representation from ACF if you have any questions for them.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council. I just wanted to take an opportunity to mention, you know, this fund seeded with $5 million represents a significant step forward. in addressing pressing health disparities across Summit County, particularly in areas like addiction recovery and mental health, issues that have affected very deeply historically marginalized communities, underrepresented communities, black and brown communities. This fund will operate community-led, is the hope and the vision, with an advisory framework that ensures its priorities and programs are informed by lived experiences and expertise of residents to deliver really meaningful and measurable impacts that align with the broader goals of health equity in our county. This proposal was more than just a funding mechanism. It's really a strategic investment in the health of our residents. And I believe that through this fund, we have the opportunity to address deeply rooted health disparities and inequities and create really lasting change for under-marginalized communities, historically under-marginalized communities and underrepresented communities. So I want to take an opportunity to thank I wasn't the person to envision this. I was just the person to get it onto a piece of paper, frankly. I want to take the opportunity to thank some of the folks who started these discussions long ago, Representative Veronica Sims and Councilman or former Councilman Russell Neal, for their efforts in beginning these discussions on behalf of Summit County and our community. So thank you. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chair, just one thing real quick. The advisory board will be made up of 7 members. Those members will be appointed by the executive and then presented to this council for conferment.
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt.
I'd like to go on as a co-sponsor.
Council as a whole? Yes. Great. John, did you have anything you wanted to add while you're here? Thank you for coming.
Good evening, members of council. John Garfalo, VP of Community Investment at the Akron Community Foundation. This fund will act similar to our other affiliate funds within the organization, our Women's Endowment Fund that focuses on women and girl issues here in our community, our Gay Community Endowment Fund, which was the very first LGBTQ fund in the state of Ohio that helps the LGBTQ plus population in our community. This will be another avenue that we're able to present to the community in order to meet some of the needs that they have. So we are ready, willing, and able to take this, work with the advisory committee to develop priorities and to get the ball rolling.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Russ, did you want to say a few words?
Thank you. I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, Mr. Nelson, Ms. Johnson, and Mr. Garfalo. This has been a long time coming. I think this started 4+ years ago, but thank you. Look forward to continuing to work with everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. Appreciate that. I'd like to take a second and congratulate everybody as well, especially Brandon. The work you did on this was just exceptional, and I just appreciate what you did. Certainly our former colleague, Veronica, this has been a concern of hers for a long time. Russ, yours as well. And thank you to the administration for, quite frankly, putting together a really, really good solution here with Brandon. So this is going to serve the community very, very well. I'm excited about the opportunity and look forward to seeing some impactful results. So with that, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Ford moves on 2024-342. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And I will close Health and Human Services at 5:29.
We'll open up finance at 5:28. We have 5 items. First is 2024-343, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a professional service contract with Lake Tech Communications, Inc. as best practical source for Paula Alto Firewall Services for a 3-year term from 1/1/25 to 1/10/28, an amount not to exceed $272,390.82 for the Office of Information Technology and declaring an emergency.
Stephen Byrne, Office of Information Technology. So this is essentially support and licensing for our firewall. We've had this in place since about 2019. This is a 11% increase in what we normally see, but we are locked in over a 3-year period, so roughly it's just under 4% roughly increase per year.
Committee questions? Council questions? Motion? Ms. Rogers moves on 2024-343. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 2024-344, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a professional service contract with the Amazing Cloud LLC as best practical source for disaster recovery as a service for a 1-year term from 1/1/25 to 12/31/25 for a total amount not to exceed $82,500 for the Office of Information Technology and declaring it an emergency.
So this is for our disaster recovery services that we use. This is the exact same price as last year, and we've have them in place since about 2020.
Committee questions? Council questions? Motion? Mr. Wilhite moves on 2024-344. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I'm going to go ahead on the second reading, move on 2024-322. A resolution approving and adopting the 2025 operating budget for the Alcohol, Drug, and Mental Health Service Board of the County of Summit and appropriating funds as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Okay. Ms. Walters moves on 2024-322. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. 2024-323, a resolution approving and adopting the 2025 operating budget for all funds, departments, and agencies of the County of Summit appropriating funds as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive Department of Finance and Budget and declaring an emergency.
So moved.
Ms. Walters moves on 2024-323. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Last item is 2024-324, a resolution approving and adopting the 2025 operating budget for the Executive Department of Jobs and Family Services and appropriating funds as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive Department of Finance and Budget and declaring an emergency. Ms. Hyam moves on 2024-324. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And we have one abstention. And we will close out finance at 5:32.
Okay, and I'm going to give Mark a couple minutes here to pass out the agenda. I'm going to open up the regular council meeting. Before I do, before I go into our caucus, we are going to acknowledge Councilwoman Gloria Rogers tonight, Councilmember Jeff Wilhite, and Councilmember Bethany McKinney, and Executive Shapiro's office will present accommodation at this time. Gloria? Yep, we're going to make you stand up there. Oh, yeah, yeah, yes. Okay, go on.
Not the only one that needs glasses.
I know, it's like, if you're going to make me, if you're going to have me read it.
All right. Whereas as a member of Summit County Council since 2009, Gloria Rogers has provided exemplary leadership and invaluable vision while faithfully serving her constituents and working cooperatively with her colleagues to enhance the quality of life for all residents of Summit County. And whereas Councilwoman Rogers was known throughout the County of Summit for her principled and consistent views on issues of vital importance, She also demonstrated an ability to work collaboratively with a wide range of politicians and officials to protect taxpayers representing the residents of District 3 in Stowe, Hudson, Silver Lake, and parts of Cuyahoga Falls. And whereas throughout her 4 terms on County Council, Councilwoman Rogers has served as the Vice Chair of the Public Safety Committee and has served on the Health and Human Services, Long-Term Planning, Personnel and Intergovernmental Finance and Rules Committee. During her time on council, she served on the Opiate Task Force, a group committed to reducing the tragic consequences of opiate abuse in Summit County through education, collaboration, and the wise use of available resources. She also was a member of the Child Fatality Review Board of Summit County, a member of the Fetal Infant Mortality Rate Case Review Team, a member of the Akron Zoological Park Board of Directors, and a key member of the Planning Committee and volunteer for Let's Move Summit County. Whereas at the state level, Councilwoman Rogers served as the chairman of the Metropolitan and Regional Affairs Committee of the County Commissioners Association of Ohio, CCAO, where she worked with state legislators, lobbying for new laws or changes in current laws on issues including racism as a public health crisis, access to healthy food, food deserts, public transit, child care, indigent defense, and lead abatement. She also served on the Ohio Jail Advisory Board and on a subcommittee addressing medical treatment for inmates in jails. Councilwoman Rogers also served on a committee for the Ohio Municipal League addressing racism. And whereas, in addition to her service on County Council, Councilwoman Rogers has worked as a nurse for over 40 years in Summit County. She is active in the community, church, and civic groups, and is a lifelong resident of Summit County. She and her husband, Bill, are the proud parents of 2 adult children and grandparents of 7 grandchildren. Whereas Councilwoman Rogers has earned the utmost admiration and respect from her colleagues on council through her professionalism and dedication to her family, friends, and colleagues and community. Her commitment has been genuinely appreciated. Now therefore be it known by all and declared by the Council of the County of Summit, State of Ohio, that this council commends Councilwoman Rogers on her service with Summit County. And although we will miss her as a council member, we are proud of her accomplishments and wish her all the best in her future endeavors. We urge all to join in honoring Councilwoman Gloria Rogers on the 9th day of December in the year of 2024.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is how it's supposed to work. When you have opposite parties on this dais, we can agree and we can disagree, and we can work through issues and come up with a solution at the end of the day. We don't have to call each other names. We don't have to point out all the negative. There's enough negative in this world to go around several fold. But this is where it comes to fruition and makes all the sense as a community. Respecting each other, working together for the ultimate goal, which is each and every one of us in this county. So Gloria, from all of us on the council, we thank you for your service. We appreciate everything you've done, and we know this isn't the end of your community work because you're so involved in so much stuff. So we thank you very much.
Thank you.
Greta.
Yes. Good evening. I know you know the executive wishes she could be here herself, but I was glad to take on the opportunity to thank you. I won't read everything again. Most of the time these proclamations have a lot of the same information, but I do want to read a couple of things that I feel are really important and should be noted. During her tenure, Councilwoman Rogers championed important legislative actions, including adding an amendment to the family leave legislation that acknowledged time off for families who experienced a miscarriage, showing her deep compassion for families during difficult times. You have shown compassion for Summit County residents your entire time on council, and that is deeply appreciated. Councilwoman Rogers has a profound passion for government oversight, and she does. You have your commitment to transparency and to serving the general public has made all of us better. And I know your council members feel that way, but I want you to know that those of us in the administration and the executive's cabinet feel that way very strongly. The directors that you work with, all of our staff you work with, we will deeply miss your leadership on this body. So on behalf of Executive Shapiro, Summit County Executive, I do hereby proclaim Monday, December 9th, 2024, to be Councilwoman Gloria Rogers Day in Summit County, and urge all citizens to recognize and honor this outstanding woman and good friend for exceptional service, steadfast dedication, and unwavering commitment to the community. And Executive Shapiro told me to tell you, don't go far. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
What I would say is that it's been a great honor and great privilege to serve the county and to work with each of these individuals who are very special people, each and every one of them, each and every one of them. And we have developed great relationships, and I've developed friendships too, not only with my council members, but other people in the community. Heads of departments have been so great to me, and I thank you all. Thank you.
Mr. Neal, did you say you wanted to say something to her?
Madam President, members of council, I couldn't let this opportunity pass to come say some words on behalf of a woman who I've grown to have a great deal of respect for. I consider her a confidant and a mentor. We came to know each other more intimately during the critical time right around George Floyd. We were both tapped by the county executive, not county executive, Ohio Municipal League's executive director, Kent Scarrett, to serve on his Race, Equity, and Leadership Advisory Board, along with Mayor Steve Patterson and some others, and some police chiefs and stuff, around the country. And what I appreciate is that during that time, Sister Rogers sought to understand and then to be understood. And she offered others that same opportunity. So I appreciate you. As you said, Councilman Wilhite, wasn't about being Democrat or Republican, because you know what? We share a lot of the same values, It wasn't about being black or white, male or female. It's about being concerned for bringing quality of life for the people that we serve. So I thank you, God bless you, and I really do appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Neal. We're going to be holding public comments at the end. I'm going to move on.
Excuse me. I just wanted to add, if it's all right.
I'm sorry, Bethany.
So on behalf of your colleagues here on County Council, we have a gift for you also. And I would just like to say and I wanted to just make a couple of personal remarks, if that's all right. Just before I was on council, I remember seeing this elegant and strong leader. And she did not miss a chance to give me words of encouragement or advice. But when I joined council, I could already relate to her as a fellow redhead and a nurse. And she has been a good mentor to me and has continued to be an encouragement. I have often asked Gloria what she thought about things, and I value her experience, insight, and wisdom. I admire Gloria's integrity, her steady faith in God, her conscientiousness and persistence in seeking answers and solutions, and all the ways that we've heard today that she has gone above and beyond in serving Summit County and her constituents. Gloria is not afraid of hard work. One of the things that strikes me about Gloria is her remarkable courage. She's not afraid to do what's right for her constituents, regardless of any repercussions that might affect her. And it is hard for me to imagine being on council without you. So I know this is not the end for you, and I know that you will continue to lead, and I look forward to seeing the good that you will continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gloria, is that Bill? Is that Bill out there?
No, that's a friend. Bill's getting over surgery, and Gordon Dean actually works for the Veterans Service Commission and has been a good friend for several years. And so he came tonight. And I appreciate it so very much.
Madam President, we've got representation from CCAO, if you'll
Yes.
indulge a minute. Thank you.
Would you like to say a few words,
Cheryl,
Cheryl?
Oh, lights, don't act like you're not coming up.
They came up from Columbus, so.
Good evening, Madam President, members of council. Cheryl Suppler, Executive Director of CCAO, and
John Lights, Assistant Director of CCAO.
and really appreciate the opportunity that you're giving us to express our appreciation to Gloria, who has been an outstanding member of a statewide association that represents 282 elected officials around the state. Gloria's taken on leadership roles, chairing the Metro and Urban Affairs County, helping with the opioid epidemic challenges and proposed solutions, as well as criminal justice. And you have just been so outstanding as a leader, a mentor, and a friend.
To Gloria, we will deeply miss you. We certainly appreciate your commitment to your county, to this council, and to our association. You've provided invaluable leadership and spirit and support for the things that we have tried to do the state of Ohio. And your personality has been an overwhelming blessing to our association.
So we have two small gifts that we hope will leave you with lasting memories. The first is another tier for your Decade of Dedication Awards. The association highlights when county officials have been elected for 10 or 20 decades, and we wanted you to add this layer to your pyramid to celebrate your 16 years of dedicated service. And John, you've got...
Thank you, thank you.
Working at the state level has been an honor. It's amazing the intricacy of the issues we have and how hard our county commissioners work to deal with them and how willing they are to listen to us, hear what we have to say, take it to heart, and then they go back to our legislators and work diligently to make what we at the local level feel needs to be done. Thank you, thank you.
Are there any other guests from the audience? If not, Gloria, thank you for your 16 years of service to the county. And I'll miss you. Moving on, there are no motions. There are 8 first readings. There are 8 first reading passage requests. 2024345, Heidi Swindell will address council.
Hello, Heidi Swindell, Summit County Engineer's Office. These 2 pieces of legislation are our blanket authorization to advertise our construction projects. There's 2 pieces, one for our stormwater projects and one for our road and bridge projects. After they get advertised, everything's coming back to council. So since we just have so many capital projects, we just do a blanket authorization for the next year. But I'm happy to answer any questions you have about any of these projects listed.
Thank you, Heidi. Is there any questions? Next is Heidi, stay on up there. Next is 2024346.
Same thing.
Okay.
Yep.
Any questions? John, you okay with this?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is 2024347, Brian Harnick.
This is simply a renewal for a cell tower lease at property up in Macedonia, which was formerly a pump station and is now, actually it's a pump station now, it used to be a wastewater treatment plant. This is a long-standing lease going back to 1998. These companies like to get ahead of the game and make sure they secure their leases for long-term because they're subleasing these, they're making improvements. So this is a renewal for a period of 4 5-year periods. Having done a little background research, this lease is still above market rates by any measure. So we're recommending to enter into this renewal.
Okay. Is there any questions? Liz, you're okay with that, right? Next is 2024348, Joe Eckenrod.
Good afternoon again, Joe Eckenrod, Physical Plants. This is to purchase 2 Ford F-150 trucks for our maintenance department. They're replacing old dilapidated trucks from the early 2000s. We did get 3 bids, and Ganley Ford was less than state term, and that's why we chose to go with them. Happy to answer any questions.
Is there any questions? Thank you, Joe. Stay on up there, though.
Yep.
Next is 2024349.
This is a co-op through Aqualis Group to paint the jail cells, over 550 cells. We were going to hire CG Group along with Tamarius to do the painting. We're going to move it in phases as we can move some inmates in phases, bring in air filtration system to exhaust the fumes while they're out of that area. Like I said, it's a co-op pricing, so through Aqualis, and I'd be happy to answer any questions about that project.
Any questions? And again, next is, I can't remember if I'm on 349 or 350 here. Next is 2024350.
This is a request for bid authorization to clean and seal the Ohio building. It's been since 1977 when this exterior facade was last was installed. Through the years, we have, addressed certain problem areas, but this is going to be a comprehensive project which is going to paint and seal the whole building.
Okay, any questions? Next, Liz, you're okay with all those, correct? Next is 2024351. Joe, you're on again.
This is a renewal. Last year, this went out to bid for waste services throughout several facilities in the county. Rumpke won that award. It was a 3-year term, and this is the second year of the first year of the renewal, second year term.
Okay, any questions? John, you okay with this? Yes. Okay, thank you, Joe. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next is 2024352. Phil Montgomery will address council.
Thank you, Madam President. Phil Montgomery from the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget. We have before council the last appropriation piece for this year. So it's a little bit of a longer one because this is the one where we try to clean up where we know we need to add some budget to wrap up the year. I'm not promising that I didn't miss something and I won't be back in January to ratify something, but we'll go through it. So the first one is appropriating budget for prosecutor municipal contracts. This was not budgeted earlier in the year, so we're truing this up with the salaries and benefits. The next one is an adjustment net zero to Sheriff Rotary to free up some funds for the increase in insurance costs. Same with public safety in the next one. The next couple, you'll see a lot that say internal services. This is increasing budget for increased IT costs is the majority of it. Internal services is where we charge internal audit, IT, all of those interfund line items. On page 2, a couple more internal services. The next one is appropriating the issue 2 funds for the Department of Development from OPWC. Sorry, I have it on mine. The next one is a last appropriation for some CARES Act funds as part of ARPA. There was $100,000 given to us to work with lands that abut the national park. So we're going to appropriate those funds and use that as part of either broadband or the Peninsula Water. So we're freeing up those funds. The next one is an increase to the sheriff's budget. As the sheriff mentioned last week at her budget hearing, there were a lot of costs in terms of the new dispatch facility and other technologies that we needed to account for. On page 3, we have an increase to general fund miscellaneous for anticipated expenses. The next one's the really big one. So we're asking for $19 million. These are the 2 line items that we do for year end. So any available general fund dollars that get moved to fund capital projects, and then the advances out section is what we do with the Department of Sanitary Sewer Services and other funds to prop up their cash balance at the end of the year to make them whole, and then we turn around in January and return those funds. So that's what those 2 big line items are. The next one is an additional appropriation for the Board of Elections. This was to basically cover part-time employees for the November general election. The next one, the various funds transfers out. Every couple of weeks, I'm telling you about life-to-date funds that we're switching to annual funds, and there's a few of those in here this go-around as well. So that's the bottom of that page. The next page and a half are adjustments between salaries and benefits of a bunch of different funds, and you can see it's a net zero. So it's just moving the funds into the line items that we need them in. Middle of page 5, we have the Department of Public Safety. This is another big one for taking a life-to-date fund to an annual fund. And then on to page 7, Common Pleas Court. So there's some intergovernmental receipts on there. And the reason why you see these a couple times repetitive is because off to the side, not on the sheet, is the project ledger where we track it by the individual project. So on the general ledger, which is what council budgets to, it's the same org object combination on here, but there's another code that we use in what we call the project ledger. So that's why it looks a little funny on that one. But this one is to appropriate funds for an OMAS grant to Common Pleas Court. You can see the different project numbers I was just talking about listed on the bottom. On page 8, we have 2 different appropriations for the prosecutor's office for new grants that they're getting this cycle. On page 9, we have another grant for the prosecutor for VOCA. The bottom of page 9 is transfers in for the engineer, and then the last page is transfers out for those same things. So this is moving funds in the projects for the engineer's office. So it's a total appropriation of $30.7 million. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Phil? Thank you, Phil. John, you okay with this? There is one late filing first reading passage request, 2024353. Liz Walters will address council.
Thank you, Madam President. So I spoke with most folks before the meeting one-on-one. This is just a simple issue to require the Board of Election staff to come back by January 13th and report back on many of the issues that we probed on in their budget hearing around the delays in election reporting, what is clearly some confusion and issues on the implementation of the new machinery that we have spent a lot of money to pay for. And then tied to that, I think we want to just be really mindful and diligent in monitoring the operation as we prepare to invest millions of dollars in a new facility for this organization. So hopefully this will be satisfactory for us, and we'll continue to keep an eye on it if we need to.
Does anybody else have any further comments on that? If not, we have routine legislation found on pages 4 through 7. There are no second readings. There are 3 third readings, 2024. Oh, never mind. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilwoman Bethany McKinney, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mr. Smith. Here. Ms. Hyam.
Here.
Mr. Donofrio. Here. Mr. Cajun. Here. Ms. Dickinson.
Here.
Mr. Ford.
Here.
Mr. Wilhite.
Here.
Ms. Darrow.
Here.
Ms. Rogers.
Here.
Ms. McKinney.
Here.
Ms. Walters.
Here. May I have a motion to approve the minutes on December 2nd, 2024? I have a motion to approve the minutes. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
First readings, 2024-345, a resolution authorizing the executive to advertise for bids as needed for stormwater improvement projects for the Summit County Surface Water Management District's 2025 Capital Improvements Program at an estimated cost not to exceed $9,605,000 for the engineer emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-345.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-345 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-346, a resolution authorizing the executive to advertise for bids as needed for road and bridge construction projects in the engineer's 2025 Capital Improvement Program at an estimated cost not to exceed $9,160,000 for the engineer emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-346.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-346 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-347, a resolution authorizing the executive to execute an amendment renewing a lease agreement with STC2 Limited Liability Company, subject to the approval of the Board of Control by adding 4 renewal terms of 5 years each, with a final lease expiration date of November 11, 2048 for the Executive's Department of Law and Risk Management emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-347.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-347 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-348, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with Ken Ganley Ford at less than state term pricing for 2 2024 Ford F-150 pickup trucks and a total amount not to exceed $80,779.32 for the Executive's Department of Administrative Services Physical Plants emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-348.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-348 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-349, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a purchase contract with CG Building Group Limited Liability Company at Equalis Cooperative Purchase Pricing for the jail cell painting project located in the City of Akron in Council District 4 and in an amount not to exceed $494,078.57 for the Executive's Department of Administrative Services Physical Plants emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-349.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-349 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-350, a resolution authorizing the executive to advertise for bids for the Ohio Building Exterior Cleaning and Sealing Project located in the City of Akron in Council District 5 for an estimated total cost not to exceed $365,000 for the Executive's Department of Administrative Services Physical Plants emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-350.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-350 on the suspension. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-351, a resolution confirming the award by the Board of Control of a renewal first of 2 of a purchase contract with Rumpke Waste and Recycling Services for trash removal and disposal at various county facilities for a 2-year term from 1/1/25 to 12/31/26 and in an amount not to exceed $313,711.68 for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget Purchasing emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-351.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-351 on the suspension. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-352, a resolution appropriating funds in order to meet projected expenditures for the balance of 2024 as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget emergency.
Madam President, move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-352.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-352 on the suspension. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam President, I move to add the late filing. Oh, sorry. Found on the blue sheet.
I have a motion to add late filing on 2024-353. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-353, a resolution requiring the Director and Deputy Director of the Summit County Board of Elections to appear before Council at Council's January 13, 2025 committee meeting to deliberate on issues surrounding reporting delays that occurred during the November 5, 2024 general election and to respond to questions pertaining to the relocation of the Board of Elections to 1040 East Talmadge Avenue, located in the city of Akron, for County Council emergency.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-353.
I have a motion to suspend the rules and adopt 2024-353 on the suspension. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Madam President, I move to suspend the rules and adopt the routine legislation found on pages 4 through 7.
I have a motion to suspend and adopt the routine legislations found on pages 4 through 7 on the suspension. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And on the adoption, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Third readings, 2024-322, a resolution approving and adopting the 2025 operating budget for the Alcohol, Drug, and Mental Health Services Board of the County of Summit and appropriating funds as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget emergency.
Madam President, I move on 2024-322.
Yeah.
You don't need to suspend the rules.
No, I didn't. I started. I didn't.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, it's a motion.
I have a motion on 2024-322. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-323, a resolution approving and adopting the 2025 operating budget for all funds, departments, and agencies of the County of Summit and appropriating funds as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget emergency.
I move on 2024-323.
I have a motion on 2024-323. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
2024-324, a resolution approving and adopting the 2025 operating budget for the Executive's Department of Job and Family Services and appropriating funds as set forth in Exhibit A for the Executive's Department of Finance and Budget emergency.
I move on 2024-324.
I have a motion on 2024-324. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We have several. Is that it? We have several.
Yes, I'm sorry, abstain on 324.
You got that? Do you have to do the motion? Okay. We have several public comments tonight. First, we're going to bring up Carrie Riggins. She's got it. Carrie, could you please state your address?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Carly Riggins. My address is 1010 Ashwood Lane. I'm an organizer with the Party for Socialism and Liberation and the Akron Palestine Solidarity Collective. We know this is the last meeting of the year, so we wanted to just show up and say one more time before the year is over that we really need to see a legally binding change to the fiscal policy to prevent and prohibit future foreign investments in all foreign investments. The $4.5 million that are currently invested in Israel bonds could be used here in the community. For example, Summit County Continuum of Care recently released their 2024 State of Homelessness report and found that, quote, unsheltered homelessness is higher than observed at any time during the last decade. The number of individuals who are unsheltered, living in encampments, abandoned buildings, or their cars has increased by nearly 300% from 2022 to 2024. Sheltered homelessness has increased by 24% during the same period. The money that is being invested in bombs and guns and bullets and the murder of children could be used here to support those communities and to support people in our county who need help. Also, recently, Amnesty International released a 296-page report after an investigation which found Israel guilty of genocide in the Gaza Strip. Secretary General of Amnesty International said, quote, the report demonstrates that Israel has carried out acts prohibited under the Genocide Convention with the specific intent to destroy Palestinians in Gaza. This is information we already knew, but to have it officially released from Amnesty International speaks volumes. Additionally, Moody's has downgraded Israel bonds credit rating again from A2 to Baa1 in September and has maintained a negative outlook amid escalating regional conflict. And on the point of escalating regional conflict, since the collapse of Syria's government yesterday morning, so less than 48 hours ago, Israel has already carried out over 120 airstrikes against Syria and has launched a ground invasion in the south. So these are the things that our tax dollars are supporting and funding, and it's really important that we make a formal, legally binding change to that so this kind of thing can never happen again. Thank you, and free Palestine.
Thank you, Carly. Next is Dr. Jadala. Sir, can you state your address too?
Sure.
Your name and your address.
Ahmad Jadala, 6184 Westington, Hudson, Ohio. Gloria, thank you for everything you've done in representing us, and good luck to you in the future. Unlike the zoo people, I don't have animals with me, but I have my cat, and she'll be waiting for me at the door as I get home today. All joking aside, I am here to talk to you on two fronts. One, I want to thank all of you who respond to my emails and to my telephone calls regarding the Nakba Remembrance and your support and your guidance. I really, truly appreciate that. I know you guys have said that we've done a job and we've tried to educate well, but this is what the whole program is about, because I think the story has been one-sided for too long. And when the story is one-sided for too long, people just believe what they're told. And what ends up happening is that the marginalized get more marginalized. I also want to thank Greta, and I think we're going to be meeting hopefully to talk with the executive's office about going forward with this educational program, and that'll be, I think we're meeting with them on, our committee is going to meet with them on January the 3rd. Again, this is much like the Holocaust Remembrance Program, is important for our community and necessary to tell our family's tragic history and their continued suffering. We believe that education about the past is the only way to move ourselves forward to better society as a whole. Now, as far as the Israel bonds issue, I appreciate the statements again made by council members here in council chambers about not wanting to invest in Israel bonds. I also appreciate the fact that Kristen Scalise said that she would not want to invest in any more Israel bonds now that we've educated people in terms of what is going on there and what that money is used for. A lot of people have said that they do not believe in, they believe that what's going on is not right in terms of occupation and oppression of the Palestinian people as well as the dehumanization. Having said that, why can't we put that in writing? It's the right thing to do. I know you guys all tell me that you're county council and there's only so much you can do. I believe that you're not just county council, but you're human beings, you're mankind, you're our hope. And that yes, you can make a statement, and yes, you can pass some sort of legislation saying that this is not what we're about. I know a lot of you are worried about, how it might affect the part of our community, and I don't think that that's an issue, because conflating Judaism with the actions of a country or a state that's involved in criminal behavior is not true. You cannot say that our, part of our community here is supportive of what Israel is doing. I don't think they should be or would be. That would be kind of equivalent to conflating a Muslim American here in Summit County with what the Syrian regime has done. No, We're not for that, and we wouldn't support that as a county either. We wouldn't invest in that. And I don't know if you've seen the videos and the pictures coming out of what's happening in Syria with these prisoners that are being released, women being released with children in prison after being held for decades. You know where those children came from. People not knowing that they think that Saddam Hussein is still alive and that Saddam Hussein is the one that has released them. I just want to let you know that there have been hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who have been held in dungeons and prisons and illegal detention centers, have been tortured and abused, and also those ministers celebrate and encourage that type of behavior. So again, you're not going to support a government like that. You can put that in legislation. I don't see where the issue is. Am I time out?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I apologize. So please help me. Yes, Lord.
Thank you.
All of the effort that's being done, I understand, and you've been over to Gaza recently.
I actually went to, they would not let me in Gaza. I had to go to the West Bank. They
Is as much effort, or at least commensurate effort, being put in to this conflict to ask that the prisoners that were taken in October a year ago be released? We still have 6 Americans being held hostage.
Yeah.
That's significant. I think there would be a greater response if this would occur.
Gloria, can I answer that question? I will tell you right now, no Israeli should ever die, and no Palestinian should ever die, and no one should be held prisoner. I guess my issue is, first of all, the bombing of Gaza is not saving those prisoners. Those prisoners are being put in harm's way. The government there has no intention of saving those prisoners. They don't care. I will tell you right now, Gloria, I wish somebody would have said something about the tens of thousands of Palestinian prisoners that were and the people that have been abducted before October 7th, but nobody ever said anything about them. Why is that? Because again, only one narrative has been ever told, and the narrative is that the Palestinian people hate Jewish people. I'm sitting there carrying the child of a Jewish person so he can come and speak. That's not the truth. that's the narrative that some people want you to, they want to fit people in a place where it suits them so they can continue doing what they want to do. You know, but
I think right now, for Americans in general and for the public, releasing prisoners would go a long way to stop what's going on.
and I will.
I really agree.
I agree with you that releasing prisoners on both sides.
Right.
Yes, I agree with you completely. And that's where, and you do know there was a deal on October the 8th to release the prisoners on both sides, and there was somebody that thwarted that. You know who that was?
I think we need to keep speaking to both sides.
Yeah, I agree, but we also cannot ignore the human rights of another group of people for 76 years and say we need to speak to both sides. Because what we've done is we've been very one-sided as a country in terms of how we've approached things. We've approached it in terms of we support Israel unconditionally, and we are going to help defend Israel. My question is, when's the last time you heard somebody say we want to defend the Palestinian people? At this time in Christmas time, to look at Bethlehem, to look at Jerusalem, to look at our brothers, Palestinian brothers and Palestinian Christian brothers and sisters begging for help and pleading for help, and nobody is looking at them. Nobody is trying to help them. This is not a Muslim and Jewish thing like many people want you to believe.
Education will go far. I was in baptism a few years ago. We couldn't even go into that lab.
Yeah, and why is that?
And that's because it wasn't safe.
But why is that? Why wasn't it safe?
Well, I'm not going to go back and forth.
No.
I'm just telling you, there is a perspective that things will change. People's perspectives would change if you would encourage the release of the hostages. And like I said, we still have 8
Right.
or 6.
If they're alive, God only knows if they're alive, yeah.
There was a group of 6 just shot not too long ago when they were supposed to be released. I mean,
Right.
it's bad on both sides.
Yeah.
There are 2 sides.
Can I tell you, Gloria, with all due respect, there are 2 sides, but what is more settlement building? How does that help the situation?
I'm giving you
How does kicking more people off their land?
my perspective. You and I can sit down and talk.
Whenever now that you're going to be, I'd love to chat with you, but I can tell you right now, illegal occupation and apartheid is not the way towards peace. And helping communities that have been disadvantaged right now, communities here that are disadvantaged. If you keep disadvantaging them, keep ignoring them, and keep abusing them, what do you expect to happen?
You and I have to talk, but I'm going to tell you something. What this county does for its citizens is amazing.
I know it does.
I go to Columbus and I hear about, oh, you're the county that, you're the county that. And we I do think progress would be made, I'm saying it again and we'll stop,
Mhm.
if the hostages were released.
Okay. Which hostages?
The ones that were taken in October. And then, as you said, the continued education of the public and what's going on.
Gloria, if I could ask you one question here. No, just ask you one question. Do you believe Israel has ever committed a crime?
I believe both sides have committed crimes.
Okay, so we're on. Okay, that's what I want to hear. Okay.
I've done a lot of studying.
Mhm.
I've been there 3 times. So this is something you and I need to discuss. I'm just making a statement as an individual
Correct.
of the importance of the hostages being released
Right.
to change perspectives.
And I would, and I would have told you, the hostages, the Palestinian hostages were taken first if
yeah.
they were released.
Yeah.
Correct?
I know.
Okay, no, and I appreciate your input. I appreciate your input, and please understand where I'm coming from, because I know you've been there, but I've lived there. And I've been shot at and I've been chased. At least you've been allowed. I have not been allowed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next is Sam Wise Morgenstern. Is it Morgenstern? Maybe they left already. Next is Anna Stevenson.
Hello, my name is Anna Stevenson, and I'm here to advocate for a commitment to no further investments in Israel bonds. The Summit County Council has made a verbal commitment to no longer invest in Israel, and this is a great step. However, verbal commitments can easily be walked back on, such as in the case of Cuyahoga County. The commitment of Summit County to the cessation of investment in Israel and other foreign entities would be even stronger with a reinforcement in policy. We demand a legally binding end to all foreign investments, including Israel bonds, and for that money to be reinvested into the community. The formation of a community investment review board would be a great way for the council to directly communicate with the interests of Summit County residents. I would also like to urge you to do everything you have within your power to hold the Akron Police Department accountable for the killing of Jasmir Tucker. Jasmir was a 15-year-old boy who was killed on Thanksgiving night by Akron PD. They waited nearly 10 minutes after they shot him to begin administering aid, and did not have their body cameras running when they arrived at the scene. Footage was only recorded when a nearby cruiser caused their body cameras to activate. Police are only meant to use lethal force as a last resort. The officers responsible are currently unnamed and on paid administrative leave, while Jasmir's family is left to mourn. Please, for Jasmir, for his family, for his friends, for his classmates and teachers, and for all those who love him, do not leave any stone unturned in the investigation into this horrific police brutality event. Jasmir did not deserve to die. Thank you.
Anna, could you please state your address, please? I apologize.
5694 Rhodes Road.
Okay, thank you. Next is David Guran. David, your address, please.
Sure. David Guran, 682 Delaware Avenue, Akron. As my colleagues have already mentioned, we are pushing to end all foreign investments, in particular now the Israel bonds, and also asking for the formation of a community-led investment board. Within the revised code, County Council does have authority over the fiscal office in order to encourage them to change their investment policies, and it would highly recommend that this board do that. As is mentioned, Israel bonds are very risky investments at this point, and Israel bonds are funding a genocide. If we don't end investments in the state of Israel, then we're all complicit with genocide. In terms of hostages, when Palestinian teenagers in the West Bank, when they throw stones, they can be put into prison for 20 years without a trial, without representation. This is not a democracy that's in Israel. I'm sorry, not for Palestinians. And Palestinians are Christians. They're Muslims. They're Druids. Those people don't have representation. After the Holocaust, the world said, We cannot allow this to happen again. When Rwanda, that genocide happened, we said, we can't allow this to happen again. But we, United States citizens, we are funding this genocide. We must deal with it. We must demand to end funding genocide. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Next is Basma Hamad. Could you please state your address, please?
21846 River Oaks Drive, Rocky River, Ohio. Thank you for having me. Good evening, everybody. My name is Basma Hamad. I am from Deir Zia, West Bank of Ramallah, West Bank in Ramallah, in Palestine. I lost my home and land to the occupation in 1967. Summit County Council does not care about the well-being of its people, including the taxpayers in the communities and neighborhoods. As you may already know very well, that the school system needs funding and improvement. College education system must be free to everybody regardless of income. Healthcare system must be free of charge to everybody regardless of income. Child care must be free of charge and accessible to every child regardless of any issues. Housing must be affordable and available to everybody regardless of any issues. But let me ask you this, what do you do instead? You choose to neglect all the improvements to the communities and neighborhoods and decide to send the money the taxpayers pay to Israel. So what are you doing here? Are you looking after the well-being of the taxpayers and making it a priority to fix all the problems, or choosing to disappoint the taxpayers by investing in Israeli bonds to commit genocide in Gaza and Palestine? Follow Lucas County in divesting from investing in Israeli bonds and in cutting all ties with genocide. Follow your consciousness and choose the right side in supporting humanity cause and save the lives of children that are being killed every day in Gaza and Palestine. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.